Hello there. Thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and check out this board from the summer of 1972, concert poster board for Led Zeppelin on what I love to refer to as their Stairway to Heaven tour. You know, it's really remarkable when you look it over and you realize that in 1972, the band spent only 19 shows in America touring off of their untitled but, unofficially called Led Zeppelin 4 album. 19 shows the whole year. That's remarkable when you think that in 1969 they came to America, I think, 4 different times. But by 1972, manager Peter Grant was really pushing them big on the international stage, and they were playing all over the world prolifically. So, Led Zeppelin 4 was released in late 1971, and then for all of 1972, you had just June for America, and they wouldn't return until the spring of 1973. And by that point, Houses of the Holy, their 5th album, had been released. So, a band is very often most excited by introducing their new material, and sometimes they play it the most freshest when it's on their most recent records. So you had 19 chances in America in 72 to catch them in that fashion for the whole 4th album, with, of course, Stairway to Heaven closing out side 1 of the LP. And I'm very lucky to say that I did catch one of the shows 8 days after this particular window card at the Long Beach Arena in Long Beach, California. So interestingly, for decades going forward, not even as a music historian, just to tell friends, I would say, hey, I saw Zepp on the Stairway to Heaven tour because it was, on their most recent record. So that was always fun to say. Now for us collectors, luckily, Concerts West, promoter based in Seattle, Washington, made a couple of great concert posters or window cards for the Portland and Seattle shows. And the two are identical, except for, of course, the information box down at the bottom. Now you can see this one. I'll get to the autograph, by the way, in a little bit. But you can see the standard layout in a top to bottom here. And then I'll show you from 2 days earlier down in Portland. So you can see it's the exact same poster, with the exception of you come up there and there's the information box. So you've got Saturday, June 17 for the Portland Memorial Coliseum, and then 2 days later, Monday, June 19th, for the Seattle Center Coliseum. And what's interesting is there actually was a show between those two, and it was in Seattle, and it was on the Sunday night between the Saturday and the Monday, but there's no advertising materials or poster for it because it was actually scheduled for Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, north of the border, but it was canceled up there, or I should say just moved down to Seattle when troubles developed north of the border. So there wasn't time to print up, never mind its own separate poster, even to combo the dates in with this venue information. There was just not a chance to do that. So you have the 2 standalone posters for 2 of the 3 Pacific Northwest states from Concerts West. And not surprisingly, since they were designed and printed probably at the same moment, all the information down below, same, font, same typesetting, even the ticket price is stripped across the same $5 advance, $6 day of the show, and only the ticket locations changed. Now, interestingly, here in Seattle it says Fidelity Lane and the usual suburban outlets, where in Portland they actually name several places, like a jeweler and I think maybe a men's clothing store, a bank, a financial institution. So, but much fewer wording in this particular venue information. Now, as long as I'm getting in down at the bottom of the poster, I'm going to show you the unusual poster printer credited here in the lower right-hand corner. And, I always hesitate to do this. I don't know if my camera's going to stay in focus, but it does say Train, as in railroad, Train Printing and Poster Company in Seattle, Washington. And I do apologize if this blurs out, but why not give it a try? Now, I have to admit, I'm not familiar. I look at poster printing companies all the time, and usually, the West Coast and Northwest was covered by Tillman out of Oakland, but they didn't tend to do, rock like this, especially in the 70s. So, pardon me, I wasn't familiar with a Train poster printing company, so I don't know how long they were on the scene. It's, I could speculate, did they go out of business fairly soon after this, or I'll avoid the clever expression and just have to wonder if Train kept a rolling after this, for a few more years. Oh, God, printing posters. Might as well have fun, right? Well, what Train did do differently was the size. These things are almost always 14 by 22 inches. Well, this is 14 by 23 inches, so it's an extra inch longer, which is kind of unusual. And interestingly, with all this color, usually a printer will put in black somewhere, you know, just for accentuation or highlights or something, but this thing is entirely red, orange, and purple ink. There is no black whatsoever on the poster. And as you can see, the only purple up there at the top is with the promoter's name and the band's name. That's it for purple. And then red is reserved just for the 4 photographs of the band members. Interestingly, you've got a couple of action stage shots and a couple of offstage shots. Obviously Plant and Jones in action, and Jimmy Page and John Bonham with offstage pictures. And yes, there you have the autograph. It does say, "To Danny, John Paul Jones." So lucky for Danny in that case. And it does have the usual, you know, this was used. This was definitely posted to sell tickets. It's got the usual tape residue and thumbtack holes and stuff like that. So a little worse to wear, but, you know, totally authentic and original. And we absolutely just love that. And there's one more thing that us poster collectors absolutely love, and that is, did the poster represent a cool concert? Do we know anything about the concert? Anything unusual, one-offs or whatnot? Oh man, hang on to your hat, because that's one of the things that's so sweet about this poster. The show itself was so special. Oh my gosh. It's definitely considered by the books and general consensus the best show of the tour. Now that's only 19 dates. It's also considered one of Zeppelin's best performances ever. And here's the poster. I mean, how great is that? Boy, they played for 3.5 hours. And they world debuted like 3 songs. The Ocean from Houses of the Holy, Over the Hills and Far Away from Houses of the Holy, and even Black Country Woman from Physical Graffiti 3 years down the line. World debuts right here in Seattle on Monday night. Just amazing. And then there was the American debut of Dancing Days, and from Houses of the Holy, and that was played like only once before in London, so they worked that into the set. So, you know, if you're a Zeppelin fan, you know, you're hearing like 4 brand new songs, unless some, you know, advanced cassette was going around or something to really knock you out. So that's really fun. And boy, then you got the covers and the well-known songs. My goodness, Whole Lotta Love was absolutely epic. And vocalist Robert Plant sort of led them into Roy Orbison's Only the Lonely. And the band, I don't think, was ready for it. They sort of like took a little, you know, time to fall in behind them, but that they did, and they worked Only the Lonely into Whole Lotta Love. And then the encores were simply crazy. My gosh, John Paul Jones on keyboard going into Amazing Grace. And they covered, you know, Sly and the Family Stone's Everyday People. And the Pacific Northwest classic, Louie Louie, first done by the Kingsmen up there. And Chris Montez, Let's Dance. I mean, what an American bandstand top 40 pop hit from the mid-60s that I just love. And Barrett Strong's Money, which of course the Beatle covers and is a real standard. So, boy, I'll tell you, they just had so much fun. You have to wonder how much or any premeditation went into it, or did they just all connect visually on the stage and say, let's go for it? I'd really like to find out. That'd be great fun. What did the show end with? The last song they did? Well, how about repeating that U.S. premiere? They did Dancing Days again for the 2nd time in the show to close the concert. Can you imagine the parking lot conversation of everybody leaving this show? Holy cats, in June of 1972. Amazing. Great window card too. A lot of fun to show it to you from Concerts West. Thanks a lot for dropping by, and catch you again for something soon. I look forward to it. Take care. Bye-bye.